looking at a replica of a Reaper drone, MQ-9, such as they fly in Afghanistan, Pakistan, Somalia, Yemen, and Iraq. This is about 20%. The real one has a 66-foot wingspan, 36 feet long. The materials in this cost about $350. I make a lot of parts at one time and then assemble them. The 11 billion number has to do with the drone program. From the time it started in the late 90s, by the time they get done making this particular model, they estimate it will have cost $11 billion. A drone by itself costs about $30 million, and the armament, a full weapons load on this costs about $320,000. So every time they launch 4 Hellfire missiles and 2 500-pound bombs, it's about $250,000.
How many people have been killed by drones?
It's very hard to tell. They've in Pakistan accounted for maybe 2,000 people, and I think close to 900 have been identified as civilians. But these killings are done in very remote areas, and so the documentation is really not there as to what's happening. The general press does not provide information about drones or about warfare in general. And so it's more satisfying for me to actually go and take information into the street like this, be on the sidewalk, talk to people, answer questions, try to understand what people's concerns are. We're out here at the entrance of MoMA. Inside there is a display called Images of War at a Distance. And it gets into this abstraction of how has the human been abstracted from war and enabled to do war apparently without consequence. I think that's something that we've tried to show here, is that war does have a consequence. We have a video that shows someone firing a missile and blowing up a moving pickup truck.
Copy.
Pre-launch checklist.
How do you get those videos?
PRF code.
This one's on
AEA
YouTube.
power.
Oh, really?
Yep.
AEA bit.
In progress.
So that's not
Passed.
classified at all.
Weapon
That's
power.
just
Right.
On.
anybody can see.
Weapon bit.
Passed.
Code weapons.
Coded.
Weapon status.
Weapons ready.
Pre-launch checklist complete.
Pilot, Sentinel, you're cleared to engage white pickup truck at your discretion.
3, 2, 1, rifle.
Every time they look at this, people see someone killing someone else. Where on the twin display, we have a video camera mounted on the drone that shows people in the street, in the crosshairs, on the screen. So when people look and say, well, that's us, and some people do look at it and say, oh, we're on screen, or we're on the target.
So good.
You just got shot.
Thank you.
We came here the night before New Year's Eve, which means so many people are moving, but we have had some very good conversations down here. What do you think about the idea of these things flying around?
No, it's very scary. I mean, they can see everything that you're doing, and they can blow you up in any moment. So no, it's very scary, and also knowing that the pilot is not here.
I would have to say I'm kind of glad they're up there. I have a lot of friends who are pilots, and I'd hate to see them in situations where they could avoid being put at risk.
The specific invention of the drone is a step towards reducing collateral damage and towards providing an alternative to more large-scale tactics, right? You don't need ground troops. You don't need SEAL Team 6 if you've got drones. So in that sense, I feel like it could be a step in the right direction.
I was in the Navy. I was an imagery analyst. I used to do global hawk feeds, and so.
And so how detailed a picture can you get of individual people on the ground?
We can differentiate between people. We just can't say exactly because we don't have DNA and actual eyes on target.
Well, from a legal perspective on targeted killings, the United Nations has found that they were in contravention of international law, as far as I understand. 43 countries in the world have a drone program. You know, it's not just America that's doing this.
Right.
That's very, very worrying that the whole world is suddenly a battlefield and that the laws of war apply rather than international humanitarian law, domestic laws, and they're much, much looser. You can get away with a lot more things under laws of war than you can under ordinary domestic law. So from the perspective of civilian casualties, it's problematic, yeah.
The drones are killing people in Pakistan, and they're not just killing so-called militants. They've killed about 197 children, and there's no trial. So I don't know. How do they know the people that they killed are militants, really?
What do you think about drones being used to assassinate people who haven't had the opportunity to be arrested or go to trial? You don't have a chance to go to court or to even know if you're the right person.
Okay. So we're talking about abroad. The people who came here and killed Americans who are at war with us. It's a new type of a war, as we all know that terrorism is. And there are certain means which are used against them, including drones. So as long as we have military under supervision of our commander-in-chief, I'm very comfortable with developing new technology. Are you?
But isn't it also true that people in those countries have a right to be protected against attacks from us or other people?
Well, yes. I mean, look, ideally, I think that everybody deserves to live in a world free of violence. That's not the world we live in. To make that a sacred value, we're not going to fight war, we're not going to violate other nations' sovereignty is just not a tenable strategy in counterterrorism.
I feel sorry for you and your argument. Then you leave yourself unprotected. That's it.
Unprotected by the drones?
Unprotected from the forces who are trying to kill Americans.
Well, the other interesting thing about drones for me is it's not just, there are a lot of states that are doing this, but also non-state actors as well are using drones. Hezbollah and Hamas have both got drones, and they've been used in the Lebanon conflict. And it's very, very easy to replicate and make basic drone technology, which can be used against America, against states, and furthering terrorist purposes.
War used to be, in the real old days with cavemen, I pick up a rock, I hit you over the head, your blood gets on me. I have to feel the rock, I have to feel the consequences of my behavior. Or then I form an army and now we're getting a little farther back. Now we're gonna have a bow and arrow, and then a rifle. And we're always getting farther and farther and farther away from our enemy.
Rifle, I'm gonna fight 15 seconds.
So with drone missiles now, what we're having are soldiers playing essentially video games. They're blowing up soldiers on a TV screen, but there are real people dying on the other end of it.
4, 3, 2, 1. Good splash.
We have to think about where we're going if we're using our brains, our technology, our money, our resources to make killing easier. Where killing people becomes just a manipulation of data on a screen. It's a double-edged sword.
I'm actually writing my law thesis on the drone program. What I'm concerned about is when these robotic systems become even more intelligent and when decisions about life or death are fully automated. So I think this is just one step on the long road to more fully automated killing systems, which is, from an ethical, legal, political perspective, extremely problematic. Obviously, at the moment, the main issues are about targeted killings and the CIA's use of the drones, but I think this is just one step down the road for something much, much worse.
So I think that there's some very, very deep issues that are raised by the eye in the sky, the idea of summary execution from the sky, and death from the sky, and it's something that people really don't think about until they get to talk about it.